Finished all the fiberglassing work, and it's about 10 minutes have gone by since I finished, and it's starting to go off now, which is what I want. I want complete control over the fiberglassing work that I'm putting on, because it's good to have it going on really, really neatly, and then trim as you go, so that you end up with a really beautiful mould that doesn't need any extra work on it. So I'm going to activate the resin now just by using a hot air gun. It's very cold and damp today, but that's gone quite nicely. It's enough. It's still slightly white when I cut it, but it's fine. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting about 1/2 inch inside my rubber plasticine flange. And I want to keep it nice and neat. I'm not cutting through the rubber on the other side. This is a new Stanley blade actually, so it'll easily cut through the rubber, but I don't want to at this moment. Always cut away just in case the blade suddenly slips. But what I want to do is just make this a lovely, neat jacket. So all of that now comes away. Big flange around the bottom of the mould here. If you catch this just right, it's a really satisfying job, because you want it to be a lovely neat job. If you don't do this, you have to grind it all with an angle grinder, and then you've got to wear masks, earphones, earmuffs, everything to keep yourself safe, and it's just a horrible job. There we go. So this becomes very dangerous, this stuff. So it's a heavy pair of shears, and we'll cut it up into tiny little pieces like this. And then I can use it inside my own cast. So I use it to strengthen the inside of the cast when I'm casting from the mould. And that way, all of this becomes a nice, safe waste product, which you're never going to see because it's put back into the sculpture itself afterwards. And it's good to do it whilst it's still easy to cut. Don't do this with scissors. You'll ruin your scissors. These are fantastic. They're just heavy-duty shears. Against the clay, the fiberglass takes much longer to go off because of this dampness, but it's just about okay now. Very nice neat edge like so, and then this just comes away. There we go. And then if you get your brush and just go over it straight away with some more APW, you've got a really nice flange that won't stick to anything. So when you come to take the whole thing to pieces, it'll just crack open beautifully. Yesterday I got all of the jackets done, so this is how it looks now that it's done. So this was the island jacket that we started with, if you remember. Then I did this jacket, and this one, which covers this side now, so all the jackets will come off nice and easily. And that's the one jacket on the back, because that's all it needs. And what I'm doing is wearing gloves. It's nicer if you can wear thicker gloves, actually. It doesn't matter how beautifully you do your fiberglass, and there'll still be the odd splinter, and they're nasty things. So got one then actually. So I'm just making sure that there is nothing there that can hurt anybody. And the next thing to do is to drill into those keys that we put in, the clay keys, if you remember, the ones that are shaped like Rolos. They're quite difficult to see now, but there's one here, there's one here. And what I use is a 6mm roofing bolt with a wing nut. I find those the best. What I'm going to do is drill through here and here so that these jackets all fit back together as one. And I'm going to put as few in as possible. You don't want hundreds of nuts and bolts in this. You want as few as possible. When I've finished the fiberglassing and I'm trimming everything up, what I do afterwards, and you can see it here, this lovely sheen on the surface, I put what's called a flow coat on, which is just a coat of resin with hardener in it over the whole thing. And that homogenizes the surface really, because I want to be able to write on here so that I can archive all the molds and know where they are. I want to get rid of the base on my mold now. So this MDF base that I did the whole sculpture on, so the whole original sculpture and its armature were all mounted onto this base so that I could then screw that onto the top of my sculpture stand. And I've put nut and bolt fixings into the bottom of the original sculpture. So I'm taking those out now because I want to be able to take the whole thing to pieces, and it's just a bit of a pull to get it off. And that's it. Now you keep this because that is perfectly cut out now for the base here. And when I make this sculpture, I want to float the bottom of the cast and put these back into the cast itself, so then it attaches to a wooden base or a plinth or whatever I'm going to attach it to. So this becomes very important. These unscrew as well, just to help me stand things up and move things around. So it's just a nice process that makes it very ergonomic, and it means I haven't got bits of metal sticking out. When I've finished, I can stand the whole thing back up if I want to. It just gives me flexibility when I'm working. This particular piece of metal is an M10, I think it is. Stainless steel studding is what that is, and I just cut it to the size that I need it, and I've put in a little screwdriver fitting just here so that I can undo it if it's too tight. This one's too tight to undo by hand, so I just put a little slit in here so that I can unscrew the whole thing, and that makes it nicer for me, as I say. And these are called inserts. They fit inside the original sculpture. So I made it the base out of wood. There's the wood you can see here. And then to attach it, I poured in resin into the wooden box, in effect, making it into a really strong base. I've drilled all the holes now, all over. So these holes hold the jackets together. These holes put the two sides of the mold together. And now what I've got to do is open the whole thing up to expose the rubber, re-expose the rubber underneath. And I just do that with some screwdrivers. So what I'm going to do is just place the screwdriver just in there. You always push against the fiberglass, never against the rubber. So the rubber now, and I'm just gently easing it off. Don't rush this process. I've got to undo the keys as I go. So hopefully everything will come out okay in this. So there we go. That's one jacket off. Put to one side. So far so good. Let's take this back jacket off. You can hear the cracking of the resin. There's different types of crack that you can hear, and certain cracks are a warning crack. The bang crack is a warning because you split your fiberglass. So I'll just show you the inside of the mould. That's it there, with all the keys on and all the holes drilled nice and centrally on it. Right. going well. And then it's that APW wax that I was telling you about that really makes this job so easy, because it splits beautifully between fiberglass to fiberglass. So you get these lovely fiberglass flanges that fit together perfectly. So this should just ease out. There we go. And then the last bit, more complicated, and that's it. Oh, there we go. Lovely. So now I'm back to my rubber. That was lucky. That's all gone very, very well indeed. And what I'm going to do now is open this up like this and take out the plasticine. The plasticine is a waste product now. You can't reuse it, unfortunately. So that all pulls out like so. And then I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do next, because it's pointless you watching me in real time. So we open this up and you'll see that it doesn't open up completely, because if you remember, we put a coat of rubber over the whole sculpture first, then we put the plasticine on. And so now we've got a little bit of rubber to cut through to get back to the original sculpture underneath. So I'm just going to show you how I do that. So you want a very sharp knife, and you open up the mould. And it's a bit like surgery, this. As you pop it in to the rubber, and if you put the blade right into your clay work, you get a nice steady cut, and that's what you want. A really lovely continuous, don't saw at it. And again, really take your time. This is where you get a reward for all the diligence and careful prep that you've done so far. And what you're after is a perfect seam. The better your seam is, the better your cast is going to be. So that's what I'm after, is this rather lovely continuous line, and we'll be getting rid of any of the feathering edges and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead now and take all of this off using that process.